Here we go, guys. Welcome to another live stream. It's so good to be live. We went live just over a week ago, and I'm enjoying going live so often with you. Now, I can see loads of questions down in the comments already from Atalia, Andrew, Jim, Ian. So, guys, we're going to go through as many of these questions as you can. But to everybody who is an AE Pro member, we are going to go through your questions first. So they were sent in via email. Now, don't worry, we're going to be here for around about 40 minutes. So we have plenty of time to go through all of your questions. Plus, you'll notice, right? I have some very exciting things to my right-hand side, which is all new equipment. And I think they're all past the embargo date now. So we can, maybe if you've got any questions about some of the clubs, we can get them out and have a look at them too. So this is all about just us having a chat about your golf game in general. If you've got any questions, I know we get loads of questions about technique, and I'll do my very best to answer them here. Also, making about equipment too. If you want any questions about equipment, I can advise you. If you're thinking of buying, if you're thinking of changing, let me know. And if you do enjoy these live streams, I can see all your comments coming in. Please do hit the thumbs up button. And if you've not already, subscribe and turn the bell, because that way you get notified every single time we put out a tip. So we're going to go through all of these questions here. Guys, Mike's just joining this. Hey, Alex, when is your next video on putter? Mike, very, very soon. Here in the UK, I don't know if you're from the UK, Mike, but the greens aren't great at the minute. So I'm just waiting for the greens to get a little bit better. Then we'll have some putting tips, 100%. And I really feel that's a place where this year I'm going to concentrate quite a lot on, just because I think guys can and ladies can make such an improvement in their game in that area. So, guys, let me know where you're watching from. Get your questions down here. Who do you think will win the Super Bowl? I was going to pull someone out the air there. I actually watched it the other night. I actually watched. Who did I watch? You really tested me here, Angus. Come on. Patrick Mahomes' team. They played somebody. Really sorry, my knowledge is really bad, but actually I really do like watching American football. I watched it Sunday night and Monday night. It was brilliant. I think Patrick Mahomes played on the Monday night. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, we're going off topic here. Ravens, Chiefs. That's who Patrick Mahomes plays for. Chiefs. Angus, I hope I got that right. Guys, sorry, we're not an American football channel here. We're going through some of the questions here that was sent in on the live stream, and all the questions that have also been sent in via email. Guys, if you are enjoying these live streams, just put any questions that you've got down below in the comments here. I'm going to go through as many of them as I can. And if I don't, I always say this, you are powered by me. I am powered by you, the viewers. So even if I don't answer your question now, as long as you subscribed and you've turned on the bell, I'll go through all the questions afterwards and make them into long form videos. So you can get those 5-6 minute tips to you and personalized to you here on YouTube. So let's have a look at this here. One of the first questions I got here in from Alan Carter. He said, I bought one of those green mats which show you where I'm striking the ground to make contact after striking the ball. I seem to be nearly way back in my stance. Is it okay for someone who is a bit stiff to getting there in years? I never use anything longer than a 6-iron or 7 wood on the fairways. 110%. Like, don't worry, like, if you're not using anything that's longer. I actually always say to people, Alan, like, I would actually substitute maybe even a 7-iron to a 7 hybrid. Make the game easier. I don't know if anybody's got any advice in here for Alan. He's asking about, is it okay to use longer clubs? And he's bought one of those mats, you know, where you strike and it sort of marks out the way. I think they're good. I think they're really good. Just be wary, right? Don't put the ball too far back in your stance. If we're struggling to hit down the golf ball, which by the sounds of it, Alan is, we've got to make a conscious effort to get into that left-hand side and really get through the golf ball. So at impact, have that whole idea of sort of being 70-30 into your lead side, whatever that might be. So if you're right-handed, into your left side. If you're left-handed, into your left side. So guys, I can see all your questions coming in here. Thank you so much for all these questions. We're going to go through them. I see them from Ollie. I see them from Peter. I see them from Mike. I see them from all of you coming in here. Peter said a course vlog would be great. So Peter, all the course vlogs go up on my second channel, which is How Good Golf. This Alex Elliott Golf is just literally simple tips that really anybody can follow. So yeah, over on How Good Golf, I'll leave the link down below in the description. I actually think it might already be there. After you've watched the live, be sure to have a go and have a look at them. There are already some course vlogs on there. I take on the you've tested my memory now. The golf course where they play the final stage at the DP World Tour Q School. It is Lumine. So it's now called Infinitum. I always get the word wrong, and it's quite a bit of a tongue twister. So yeah, Peter's that is there for you. Now I noticed Lee Hughes said this, and let me know where you're watching from because you can probably relate to this. Our greens are covered in snow. I've seen a lot of people here on the channel, right, say wherever they're watching from, it is snowing, it is cold, it is horrendous outside. I'm just not getting a chance to use your tips. Well, think of this time period as right where you can build that knowledge and save the tip that you think is going to work best. Now, these tips are all working on either impact, backswing, downswing, driver, irons, but they're very, well, not very different. They're a little bit different in how I put it across because you think, right, you will learn differently to me and you will learn differently to all the people here on the live stream. So it's important we have little different idiosyncrasies between each tip. So let's go through some of these questions here. We'll go to one on the live stream now. Andrew Shepherd said this. Hey, Alex. Firstly, thank you so much for all the incredible content. My question is, what wedges would you recommend for someone who's relatively new to golf, looking for forgiveness above all else? So, Andrew, one thing that you'll notice is when you get to, and see a lot of players, they have what I call specialist wedges. So almost like blade-like appearance, in the sense of very thin top edge. Now, how you work out your wedges in general is, if this is what I would say, and then we'll go down the handicap route, sort of in sense of what's more forgiving. You work out what your pitching wedge is in your set. Now, sometimes that could be 45 degrees. Sometimes that could be 43 degrees, 42 degrees. I then would work in 4-degree increments from there. So let's say, for argument's sake, your pitching wedge is 46 degrees, which is what mine is. Now, they can be stronger. I would then go 50, 54, 58. So that's how I gap my wedges. So that's how I'd work it out, Andrew. But in terms of something for forgiveness, you can look at brands of Cleveland. They have sort of almost a cavity back style wedge. Callaway do something very similar. But what I would look for is, I would go for chunky pitching wedge, chunky gap wedge, and then in your sand wedge and your maybe potentially lob wedge, if you've got room for that in the bag, go for a specialist wedge. Because the sand wedge and the lob wedge are going to be used those specialist shots around the green, not necessarily for full shots. Whereas your gap wedge, okay, or your approach wedge and your pitching wedge, you're still going to probably hit full shots with that. So tend to try and go, if you're buying a set or you've got a set, get that integrated into the full set of irons. So it's going to have more of a cavity on it. Then replace the sand wedge with a more specialist sand wedge and lob wedge. Like, if money wasn't an object, that's what I would do. But Andrew, you said you're off 8 handicap. So I only read that bit a little bit further down. Sorry. But anyway, if anybody else has a higher handicap, that's really going to help you. I would go 4-degree increments and work it from what your pitching wedge is in your set. So like I say, if it's 46, and you can just go online, search your irons, and you'll find exactly what loft they are. Guys, welcome to the live stream. If you just joined, I can see all the questions coming in here. We've got Mike, we've got Robert. So let me know if you've got any questions about your game. It could be equipment, it could be I'm going out the weekend. Like, what's going on? Just let me know. I'm here to help you play your best golf. Dread, thank you so much. Wow. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let me know if you've got any questions about your game. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so let's go into another one of these questions and we'll get straight back into these comments. Here we go. Another one here. Let me just load these up. I've saved them all here on a file, so I'm nice and organized. From Greg Miller. Said, hey, Alex, thank you, mate, for your email tips and so many aspects of my golf swing. I have incorporated many of them and them to correct my issues in my golf swing and improve my swing, strike, distance, and control, my game overall. Now it seems to be putting has decided to take a hike on me. How far back should I take? Is there a formula for judging distance, speed, follow through on a 3-foot putt? Thank you. All the best. And thank you for enjoying my game. Okay, so we're talking putting. Tell you what, my reading's terrible, isn't it? Oh, it's awful. Okay, so generally we're talking about putting. Greg's asked for a question here about putting and how we get distance control. So I want you to think about this. You can see this is a hole here. This is a very well formed hole. I actually have a golf ball. Here's one I found earlier that's going to really help me. So let's think about this logically. How I want you to think about this is our hole. We know our golf ball that goes straight in the middle. Obviously, it goes in. But if we're thinking about pace, and I want everybody to think about this, you want to be hitting your putts so they fall in dead weight. Okay. Now, if they fall in dead weight, they can fall in on the side, they can fall in the left side, the front. When you've got the putt racing 3 or 4 foot past, it actually never has a chance of going in. If it's going too fast, it's going to lip. It has to be, if it's a fast putt and you're hitting it hard, dead in the center to have any chance. So your margin of error is a lot smaller. Whereas if you're getting to drop just on the edge, boom, in, you actually get a bit more of a chance for the putt to drop. So think about this logically, right? Pace control, you should be looking and putting a T-peg roughly around about 2 to 3 inches past. That is it. Don't 18, 20 inches. No. Just think 2 to 3 inches past, max. And that way, you're going to have a much bigger chance of holding a putt, Greg, like an end of everybody. And drills I would do is I would place a golf club on the ground, on the practice ground, before going out and playing around, 2 to 3 inches past. I'm trying to hit putts where you hit putt, obviously trying to hold the putt, but the idea is it wouldn't hit the golf club and go past. It's a great way just to calibrate yourself before going out. Now, it's also important to note on that point, don't just try straight putts. Try across the slope, left to right, right to left, downhill, uphill. This way, you're starting to build that feel before you go out on the golf course. And the best way to do it. Okay, so Phil, that's a question. Mike's that's a question. Guys, thanks so much for the questions. Let me know where you're watching from. We're going to go through this. Jim Callahan, good day to you, Alex. Thank you. Good day to you, Jim, and good day to everybody. Ian Fisher said, hi, Alex. Looking forward to tonight's Q&A. I've been striking the ball a lot better and playing my best golf since following your tips. Wow. Guys, that's why we're here. That's why we go live. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. Like, as I was saying before, like, we're just looking at little simple things that you can start to integrate. And that's all this is about. Little simple things you can start to integrate. Because if we're being perfectly honest, right? Think about this logically. None of us have the time to practice like a pro. So we've got to only do little things. If we try and take on too much, we start playing bad. We start not enjoying the game one iota. And that becomes then a huge problem. Okay, so here we go. Mike asked about one next video on a putter. We answered that earlier. Subs, welcome. Hi. Angus asked about Super Bowl. You really tested my knowledge here. Subs said, your videos are awesome. Thank you so much. Atalia said, hi, Alex. Can you please explain how to release driver and what I should feel? Now, I'm going to go with a generalization here that we all slice it. Now, my bad shot is off to the right. So I'm going to do the generalization of how do we square the face. Now, if we're talking right hand, okay, I'm going to give you a few different feelings here. And like I was saying a minute ago, one might work for you, one might work for somebody else. That's why we have so many different ideas and so many different tips, because everyone works differently. And it's important to try them all because it could just be, boom, that bingo moment. So if I'm talking at hip height on the way down, I'm feeling as though my right hand is working over. So it's working like this. Just want to make sure you can see that on the screen. It's working over. So it's over and through. And in a sense, what that would do to your club face, I can't pull that because I'm scared they're all going to fall over. But that would start to close our club face through that hitting area. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to take our face to close and release. So I would look down, Talia, and a foot after the golf ball, we're trying to imagine that toe of the club is just about to overtake the heel. And I would call that release. Now, at what point I feel that? Right hand, if you're feeling it in the right hand, I'd feel it around hip height. Feel this element. If you're feeling it in terms of downswing, I feel as though I'm releasing the club as I start down. It's sort of that action. You can just practice that if you're watching that now. In that action. It's almost like I'm throwing a frisbee out the back of my hand. And that idea is that you don't want your release to be a flash in the pan. And what I mean by that is last minute save. We want it to be a continuous motion as you start down into impact and into follow through. That way, you're really starting to work the golf club more efficiently. You're really starting to work the golf club the way it's designed to be hit. So I'm telling you, there's a few different feelings there. I feel you're throwing a frisbee at the back of the right hand, or sorry, back of the left hand, and releasing it with the right. But essentially, bear this in mind. A foot after impact, let's try and feel as though the toe of the club is starting to overtake the heel. That is release, and that's how I think about release personally. So I hope that helps you. So Scott said, I have a 15-year-old driver currently looking at the Ping G430 SFT. Have a bad slice. So Scott, 110%. Like if you're a big slicer, the SFT is the way to go. Now, if you're looking at a draw bias driver, you could look at the Max D from Callaway. You could look at the draw bias model from Cobra, the Stark Speeder this year. Mizuno also have the same. So don't just go down one route. Like if you've got the ability to try and go get fitted, never go to a fitting sort of narrow-minded, because I always feel I've done that in the past and I've just come out with what I wanted, but probably not what I needed, if that makes sense. So yes, if you're a big slicer, go SFT, go draw bias models, but have a look at all of the brands, because essentially there's loads that are very good out there. And you might be surprised about what one actually suits your game, not one that you want to suit your game. I think that's really important. Big MT said the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs too. I'm not really good at this, but I do like watching it. MJ said, a drill to rotate through the ball after lower back fusion. So MJ, this is a really tough one. Like I'm going to say, and this is going to sound like I'm sitting on the fence here, but always seek advice from like a physio on getting rotation. But one thing like I would really think about, what's going to help you rotate more, is the sort of feeling of on the way back, lift your left. I'm thinking if you're right-handed here, lift your left heel to allow the hips to turn a little bit more. And on the way through, just allow that sort of motion to come up a little bit. So we're talking about rotating through more so. And the first thing I do is think about backswing, loosen it off, lift the left heel. But at the address position, have the feet flared, or definitely, right, have your left foot flared more. Really, really do. Now, all the things you've got to take into account here, if you've got fusion in your lower spine and you really struggle to rotate through and it's painful, it's hard, think about creating speed and accuracy in other ways. It doesn't all have to be the modern golf swing where we turn ourselves inside out. Think about more of these forearms, more of these wrists involved. You got to swing your swing, right? You don't just swing everybody else's. And that's the one thing that I would really, really think about, MJ. Small wins, try lifting the heel on the way back, help rotate them more in the backswing, and also address position, putting the left toe out. But also have a think about like forearm rotation, upper body rotation, in the sense of using these muscles a lot more rather than trying to create massive amounts of separation with the lower half. Yes, technically that's going to be the most efficient swing for a piece of on a piece of paper, but is it going to be the right swing for you? Is there going to be longevity? And that's the things that I always think about when people come for a lesson with me. A putter review. Mike, there's some putter reviews up on How Good Golf, and some more coming very soon. I'm waiting for the greens to get better, so give them a fair review, if I'm being perfectly honest. Angus went with the Chiefs. Guys, welcome to tonight's live stream. If you've just joined, don't forget, if you are enjoying these videos, just get down below in the comments. If I don't answer your question now, then I will go and scroll through these comments afterwards, put them aside, and make longer videos. I say longer, they're like 5-6 minutes. And they just really are designed to help you improve your game, because I am powered by you, the viewers. Now, just let you know what you look forward to this evening. Let me got this. I was prepared earlier for you. So tonight we're looking at this. This is going to come up at 8:45 this evening. Now, a lot of people, if you swing over the top, right, and you've tried absolutely everything, this is the way you've got to go. Now, what I mean by this is the thumbnail you're going to be looking for, 8:45 this evening, is simply a right shoulder pops out. And this is for irons and driver. I give you a 5-step process to get that right shoulder a bit more in. So more of the side bend through the shot, like we see all the top golfers do. John Rahm, Victor Hovland, all these top golfers make this move. And I find when I've explained it like this to students, a lot of people feel it's miles away. They can't achieve it. But I promise you, you can achieve this following this method. So 8:45 this evening, this one's going to be popping up. So don't forget to give that a watch. So let's go through this. Got a lot of Chiefs fans on here. Mike Williams said the same. Okay, Peter Jensen said, checking in from YouTube, Oklahoma. Short game is my struggle. My short game. Right, okay, let's talk short game here for you. So, Pastor, this is what Pastor, sorry. I said Peter. What we'll think about short game is what I would really think about here for short game is how do we deliver the club? Now, a lot of people struggle with a short game when actually we get the ball too far back, too much forward shaft lean, and the leading edge digs in. One thing you've got to think about here is let's have the ball position middle to back. Let's open that face slightly. So what I mean by open it slightly, I'm going to brave it, guys. I'm going to take a club out. I'm going to brave it. We're all jammed it. Come on, I can get one. This is something I should have thought about. It all falls over. Oh, it stayed. Okay, it was worth it. So you can see this. So think about this. We might go out of focus slightly, but watch this. So I don't want you to chip where we're sort of stood like that. That's a killer. We've got to open it slightly, then take our hold. This way we're softening the club, and actually we can start using the bounce a little more. Beautiful line, that, by the way. Beautiful line. So yeah, open the face slightly, ball middle to back, and that will get the bounce activated. We always hear these statements like activate the bounce, but essentially that does just softening it slightly. Not good. So hopefully that really does help. So Liam said here, hi Alex, watching from Qatar. Question on club head for irons. When addressing the ball with driver, you have a great tip on finding the center of the club. Anything different for irons? Now, Liam, I think you're referring to, I always address sort of slightly out the toe because the club will move out. So if I address here, the club moves out slightly because of, in a word, centrifugal forces. It pushes out. Now, that happens with driver because the club is so long. But I would actually say with irons, just address right out the middle. But one little tip you can do is if you grab your golf ball, right? And I would really recommend doing this. Get a Sharpie. Even do it at the range. Do it at the range ball. People won't know. Draw on it and hit some shots away. And just you'll find that some patterns of where you're hitting it at impacts. Now, let's say if you got a pattern when you hit the golf ball and the Sharpie leaves an imprint and it's always towards the toe, then maybe we've got to address a little bit more sort of into heel. And therefore, you're sort of counteracting that. Other things, if you're not finding the middle, think about where you're stood. Are you too far away? Are you too close? These are little things that I would check as a coach. But let's say you've got the right distance in the golf ball, you stood correctly, and you're constantly hitting out the toe, then we might need to sort of address a little bit more sort of middle to heel. If you're constantly out the heel, maybe we address a bit more out the toe. But a nice simple way of doing that is draw a nice thick line on your golf ball of Sharpie, hit some shots away with the Sharpie pointing straight back towards the golf ball. And this way you're going to find out exactly where you're hitting. So Liam, I hope that helps you to find that. But essentially, ideal scenario here with irons, especially the shorter irons, just address it out the middle, okay? Only on the fairway woods and the hybrids, you sort of maybe favor toe side because it will move out slightly as you're hitting. So Andrew Shepard said, playing a year a lot and currently off a handicap of 8. Brilliant. Blooming heck, Andrew. That's a great effort in 1 year down to 8 handicap. Guys, if you are watching now, welcome. Let me know what handicap you are. This is great to see that people have been playing such a short time and getting so low. Wow. Big MT said, we'll love to see you play 9 holes. So Big MT, I was saying this earlier. This channel is just about simple golf tips that are powered by you. But we've got our second channel, which is How Good Golf. The link to that is just in the description below. And on there, we got reviews of all the latest equipment. We got me playing. I take on, right, the golf course they play the final stage of the DP World Tour Q School on. Wow, it is tough. And I do a little challenge. It's not just any old course vlog. We take it on to where, right, I do it as much as I can. If I do it, I play as many holes as I can without making a bogey. See how many holes I get. From KC here, you know the Chiefs are going all the way. God, we've got a lot of Chiefs fans here. From Aaron, USA, West Virginia, got the Ping 425. Would it be worth getting a new one? Is it better technology? This is always the question people ask me. Is it worth upgrading from year to year? Obviously, what we hear from brands is, yes, they are different. And you might prefer the look of one to the other. But my general honest rule of thumb is that if you've got 1 year old driver or 1 generation old, I always would say to people, skip a generation. Now, if money's no object, get a new one every year, 110%, just because it's nice to have new stuff. But being realistic, I always would say, skip a generation, and then maybe think about getting the next one. That is the best way for me. But always, if you're going to get a new club, don't just buy it. Go and get fitted. Please, 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 please. It makes such a difference. Promise me you're going to go and do that. Okay. Angus said here, I always toe my shots, but they go straight-ish. Now, with a driver, there's something called gear effect. So if you hit it out the toe, to some degree, too much out the toe, it will really affect it. But that could be a big key. Okay. Now, toe shots could be cool. So I've got a video going out tonight. You look this thumbnail you got to look for, and it's about this right shoulder. Now, if you throw the right shoulder out a lot, then end up having to pull the club in very quickly. So Angus, maybe check out tonight's video. It might really help you there. From Sudsy on Water said, hey, Alex, I was fitted for irons and getting fitted for wedges. Can I get the same iron shafts as I have in my irons? Can I get the same shafts fitted for wedges? Can I get the same iron shafts that I have in my irons, which are Project X 6.0, 110 grams? Should I get them in my, or should I get wedge specific shafts? Now, what I would say is, in the past, I have gone and matched it. But honestly, I would go for wedge-specific shafts. I just feel that they help me get a little bit more control on the greens. What I tend to see is with very firm and stiff shafts like you've got there, that it's harder to get that spin, harder to get that control. So maybe think about going for the 6.0s in the pitching wedge, but then those specialist wedges like your 50 or 54, 58 or 52, 56, 60 or whatever way around you do it, then maybe go for those specialist wedges in those. That's just what I would do, just because I found in the past when I've matched it completely, I haven't enjoyed the feel on the shorter shots. I'm talking like 20-yard chips. It felt a little firm, felt a little bit, don't know, not great. Okay, Justin Wanger said, my question, I take deep divots that kill my shot distance and accuracy. What do I do to practice, and what could cause a deep divot? Okay, Justin, so there could be a few things that cause a deep divot. Now, guys, if you're just joining, just get your questions down below. I can see you all down here popping questions in. Marcus, Indoor Golf Simulator, Jack said here, Robert, we've got loads of good questions coming in here. Guys, if you are answering these questions and I don't get back to you, don't worry. I will go through these questions afterwards, right? And I go through them to the point where we use them to create full videos. So don't worry about that. Let me go back to this one here. I've lost so many questions. Okay, here we go. Justin said this about my question about deep divots. Okay, so Justin said about deep divots, few things. Could be ball position, could be too far back. So if you're right-handed, too far to your right foot. But what I'd say is we're sort of making that over-the-top move and smashing down into that. We also could be sliding a little bit too much. Now, I mentioned tonight's video. I'm not going to mention it again, but if you're coming over the top, taking big, steep divots, one of the things could be your right shoulder popping out. So just I would honestly have a look at tonight's video. It'll help you hit more from the inside. It'll help you release that club better. And they're all the facts that are going to help create a shallower angle of attack. And if we're taking two deep divots, we need to shallow that out a little bit. And essentially, shallowing that out, if I grab this club, is taking the shaft and working steep and over to be a bit more in this laid down position during this downswing. And I promise you, that is something that's going to really help you. Pastor said, course vlog from you on YouTube would be great. Pastor, that happens on How Good Golf. So do go and check those out. Okay, let's go and have a look at these ones down at the bottom. So I appreciate there's loads of questions coming in here. Let's have a look at these. Let's go down to the bottom and pick one that's just come in. If you are lucky enough. Here we go. Robert said this. Do you recommend steel or graphite shafts in your wedges? Now, steel or graphite shafts in your wedges. I've never had graphite shafts in my wedges. I'm not saying they're wrong. I actually think graphite shafts have come on leaps and bounds in the last 10 years. And I've used them in the past in the sense of when I was younger. If you've got graphite shafts in your irons, 100% match that up. But what I would say is with your wedges, you want something that's going to allow you to create spin. And if it's a graphite shaft for your swing speed and your feel, 100%. So it's very difficult for me to say, recommend or don't do this or whatever in terms of shafts without knowing your game entirely. But one thing I'd say is I've got nothing against graphite shafts. So I really do hope that helps. Guys, it's so good to have so many of you on here. Let's find where I was before in about deep divots. Here we go from Justin. Next one down. Let's go in here. From Mike Williams said, is it strange for a player to have their built to make one club fade and others draw? No, absolutely not. In the sense of, I find it easy to draw an iron. Not easy. I mean, that sounded really big headed. Not easy. Easier. But I find it really hard to draw a driver. So I could choose to make my driver slightly more draw biased. Now, all you would do there is move the CG slightly more, CG being center of gravity, more towards the heel. And on some modern drivers, you can sort of move that at the back. No problem at all. And what you've got to think is that change is marginal. It's only marginal. It's not going to do too much, but that might just help you hit less of a fade or a little bit of a straighter shot relative to neutral. So yeah, not a problem at all. And you'll find a lot of tour players, they will sync their games up specifically for that. But you didn't know that. I remember watching, this is ages ago. It was, who was it now? Sergio Garcia. I remember this picture. Remember the R5 TaylorMade donkeys ago. Like, I looked at the bottom of his driver and I was on an online image and he had loads of lead weight towards the heel. Obviously, he was wanting to be more draw bias and make his driver that way. And back in the time before you can move weights, you put lead weight strips or injected lead or injected heat and a mold into the head in order to move the CG and make the club more draw bias. Like, yeah, for sure. Peter Jones said, "Hi Alex, loved your video on shortening the swing. Been working on it and it really works for me. I'm hitting it longer and straighter. Many thanks, Pete." Pete, I love it. This is what I want. This is so good to hear. Guys, let me know what tip's been helping you the most. So essentially, Pete's talking about a tip where it's not making it shorter per se. It will be shorter because you're syncing up the arms and the body. You're starting to use these muscles more. I hate it when I see this sort of ride of these arms go like this. It makes it a lot weaker. We don't want that. From Ollie Pop 65 said, "Alex, I feel my left hand is really dominant in my swing. What can I do to feel equal when striking the golf ball?" So one thing I would check, if you feel like your left hand is really dominant, it's probably in a very strong position. So when it's in a strong position for a right-handed golfer, it's very on the right-hand side of the club, your left hand. So very strong. You can see a lot of knuckles. Now, what that does is that gives you the real ability to release that club too much. So if you're right-handed, move that left hand towards the left side of the golf club or rotate it more sort of anti-clockwise. If you are left-handed, what it might be is if your hand is a little bit too much under the club, so rotate it clockwise. And that all depends, obviously, if you're right or left-handed. But they're little things. You can see those dominance sides come out when you're sort of gripping it wrong. So check that grip is what I would say. From Michael said here, "Hey Alex, from Western Texas, I'm regripping my club. Any recommendations?" Now, are we regripping in the golf swing? We'll go 2 tips. Literally, grab a second glove and you want to place it in here. The idea is don't let the glove drop out. If you're regripping, that's dropping out. Other chances of regripping is when we get this elbow flying. Simply to complete the swing, the only thing that you can do is regrip. So get that feel a bit more tucked in. Feel a shorter swing too. If you're talking about regrips in terms of gripping your golf club, lambkin grips always. Now they're boring, they're not very colourful, but they last. I promise you, if you keep them clean, they last. Okay, let's go to some of these other questions at the bottom. Guys, I want to repeat this. If you are worried I've not answered your question this evening, do not worry. I go through all these questions, all these comments, and you honestly help me create my content. Like, all your questions here. Like, say, for example, Peter Jones said here, "Hey, Alex, what are you thinking about the swing guide training game?" Like, we could create a video on that. Whatever it is, that's what we do here. I like to golf. I'm powered by you, the viewers, and I just genuinely want you to play your best golf this summer. And that starts now. Like, I remember when I was trying to play, like Michael Wheeler said, "Thanks, Alex. Love the channel, brother." Michael, thank you so much for the support. I love it. I love it. It's so good. Thank you. I was saying, when I was trying to play before I started coaching, this sort of January to April time, even if I couldn't get out, was my time to sort of focus on my swing, do reps at home, driving range, or indoor, whatever that might be. Just sort of subtly work on my game all the way up to sort of April when the springtime comes. Your golf swing and your season is made now. What we do through the season is just little tweaks here and there. We can start to really build a better golf swing right now, and that's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do, to help you play better golf. Okay, here we go. Let's try and find another question here. We've got so many, guys. Thank you so much. From Pedro said, "Hi Alex, love your tips, man. Been following you for quite a while now." Pedro, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the support. Hopefully, I can help you get even better. Joe Glabis said, "Hi Alex, and all in the chat is hitting off mats at the range with irons bad for my game." Now, Joe, it's genuinely not great for your game. And I remember hitting loads of gold balls when I was trying to play. And I actually got really bad wrists from almost the impact of hitting mat after mat after mat. It's not definitely bad for your game, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to be detrimental, but it could give you a false sense. So what I used to do, so let's imagine my phone here is a towel. This is my golf ball with irons, just to make sure I was hitting down. I would put the towel in the way, just lay it flat and make sure I didn't hit it. So with long irons, get a little bit further away. With shorter irons, get a little bit closer. And that way you're sort of guaranteeing it. Because what you'll find is at the drain, sometimes you could sort of bounce it and it would be fat on the course, but actually not on the range. But one thing I'd say is work smart. Don't work like hit loads and loads and loads of balls. Like, I'll be honest, I've done that. I've hit too many balls in the past and I just injured myself. So I would go for 50 balls to 75 balls, absolute max per session. Because we get bored after a bit, don't we? Like, if you're hitting ball after ball after ball after ball after ball, it's like, how do I carry on doing this? You get bored, let's be honest. Like, unless you're playing with a mate that's a little bit different, maybe get a few more. But just work smart, pick a drill. Pedro said, greetings from Spain. Wait a sec, Alex. What is your handicap? Also, come to Barbados and let's play around. Mike, I wish I could come to Barbados. It's my dream to come to Barbados. Thank you for the invite. Well, I turned pro, gonna say a long time ago. It is now. Nearly 10 years ago off +2. So as an amateur, I got to +2 and then I decided to turn pro, tried to play. Wasn't good enough, I'll be honest. And then I got into coaching, and then we created this channel to help all you play better golf and share my tips and little tricks that I learned when I was caddying on the European Tour, now DP World Tour. Let's go to all these questions. Let's pick a random one here because I appreciate there's so many. Okay, Robert Wang said, Alex, what are your favorite training aids? Now, actually, I got one of my students called Kevin. He brings training aids most weeks, and they're brilliant. The one that I really like is actually that Pro Sender. You know, the one you might have seen it. I think it's Sean Foley's. I'm pretty sure it's Sean Foley's. Where it gets you sort of in that set position. I've seen quite a few of the top players use that. So that's that getting at the top of the backswing. And I was referring to this position before. We don't want to be here. We want to be somewhere here. Helps get club face stronger. It helps get the arms more organized. Helps keep control of the golf club. All the things that we're looking for in our golf swing, for sure. Golf Guru says +2, and he's been playing golf for 5 years. Bit of context to that. I asked you what your handicap was and how long you've been playing for. That's impressive. Getting down to +2 in 5 years. Wowzers. That is good. That is really good. Stephen Moss said this. I have reduced my swing thoughts on the tee box to 38. Right. Stephen, we've got to get that down. Back down. I promise you this, right? If you went to the range, forgot about everything, just swung the ball, hit the ball away, you would hit good shots if you were relaxed. So, Stephen, please do me a favor. Go to the range. Relax that grip pressure. No care in the world. For the first 20 shots, just hit it away. You will hit it way better. I promise you. Then from that, give yourself 2 swing thoughts. I always say 1 backswing, 1 downswing. That is honestly as much as we need. And I think there's always a good thing of having swing thoughts because you have sort of, let's say, an idea of what you're working towards, but too much is too much. We don't need that. Really loosen that off. So Mike Williams said, so 4.2, been playing 4 years, had a 12-year hiatus. A lot of people I've been seeing have that hiatus thing. Obviously work, life gets in the way. So if you're getting back there, we get you back there with some good, simple tips. So Jacob Mason said, Alex, please demonstrate the tilt in the backswing. Feels I like reverse pivot. Because I reverse pivot. I just want a demonstration. Okay. I'm going to stand up here, guys, so you can see this. We'll move the chair out the way. We'll do this face on and down the line. You might lose me a little bit, but I'm not very tall. So here we go. So here we go. Backswing. We need to understand this. So if we've got reverse pivot, which is that, so too much extension here, put your thumb in your middle sternum, thumb on your belt buckle, keep it the same distance. Okay, now what I do there is tilt left, rotate. Now look how I've got my spine now tilted away from target if target is that way. Now on the downswing, right shoulder down and through. So I mentioned this earlier. This is about tilts and turns, and definitely in the downswing. This is going to save you if you're swinging over the top, if you're losing power, if you're doing everything you don't want to do. Honestly, this is the move that I think about, which is very much down the line now, guys. When I start down this way. So I get in there as opposed to out there, and then opposed to out here. Guys, let me know. On these live streams, I can sort of rejig this slightly. I'm not saying we got bags of room here, but we could definitely rejig this. If you want me to stand up and do some more demos, we can possibly rejig this. Okay, guys, hopefully that helps you. Mike Manley said here, so many contradicting golf tips on YouTube, but I have found that yours are the best and I have eliminated all the others. You are the absolute best. Mike, honestly, thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. I just hope, right? What I want you to think about this channel here is it's just simple things. There's no jargon. There's no rubbish talked. We just sort of put it the way it is. And I think I found breaking the tips down to simple sort of steps is a lot easier for you to follow. Okay, so let's go for one more question. Now, guys, don't worry. If I haven't picked out your question here tonight, do not worry. I want to reiterate, I will go through all these questions and all these comments on the live stream, pick them out. As long as you're subscribed and you've turned on the bell, I will make a longer form video, 5 to 6 minutes. It will be up within the next month and a half. So if you're subscribed and turn on the bell, you will not miss that notification. That could be your question. Okay, let's go for this one here. I'm going to go for one at random. JMac619 said, hope I'm not too late. My question is about release, whatever that is. I am dreaming about max speed at contact. Is that right? Is there a way to check where your speed peaks? Okay, late or early. Now, one thing you got to understand is I always have the idea is that my max speed is just after impact. I think about punching, right? This is someone I'm punching. I've never punched somebody, but just an idea. I don't want to punch to them. I punch through them. Now, I have the idea of that max speed. Now, what you'll find is if you're throwing away that early, so early release, all your speed's gone here. So think about like a speedometer all the way around. We want it to be slow, 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 fast. So slow, 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 fast. Now, make swings like that, where you start that downswing, J-Mark, where it's really slow. Keep the tension on and then let it go. That is honestly the best way to do that. I promise you, it's the best way. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. It's so good to have so many of you on this on a Thursday night. A couple of weeks' time, maybe a week's time, we'll go live again because I love coming live with you all, answering your questions. Don't worry if I've not answered them. I will pick them out. Don't forget, in 3 or 4 minutes' time, tonight's YouTube video is about delaying that right shoulder. And it might sound crazy, then it really will help you. J-Mac said, slow, 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 fast. Thanks. Honestly, have that idea in your head. With driver, J-Mac, just put a towel, a foot in front of the golf ball and have the idea you're going to sort of peak your speed around that. That's really the way I'd go for it. I promise you, it really will help. Everyone's saying thank you. Sudsy said thank you. J-Mac said thank you. PS, thank you to SL4U said thanks. Guys, thank you so much about my heart for all the support. The support recently has been absolutely amazing, and it always is. It's not just recently. It always is amazing. You guys are why I create these videos. I just create simple videos that are powered by you. Without your questions, guys, there is no channel. So just pop them down below. This is just free for you to improve your golf. And I genuinely care about you playing your best golf this year. I want to reiterate, now's the time to peak your golf. So let's get you ready for the season this year. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you on another live stream. Don't forget to check out the video, which is going up in 1 minute.